Good morning, Blue Streaks. It's Monday, April 27th, and you guys have been doing a great job on your trig stuff. Did a nice job on the law of sines last week, and this week we're going to learn about the law of cosines. So I'm just get started. So there's our objective. Use the law of cosines to find the side lengths and angle measures of a triangle. So we're going to solve a triangle just like we did last week. Remember, when you solve a triangle, when you're done, you should know all three angles and all three sides. Okay, some of you didn't quite do that last week. So make sure you find all three answers. Usually you're given three things. You have to find the other three things. Okay, so using the law of sines last week, the law of sines cannot be used to solve triangles for which side, angle, side, or side information is given. Instead, we're going to use the law of cosines. Okay, so this is the law of cosines. Again, when you draw your picture, the capital letters represent the angle measures, and the lowercase letters represent the measure of the sides. So again, if you look where angle A is here, side A is straight across. Angle A is in red. Side A, straight across from it, is red. Angle B is in blue. Side B, straight across. And angle C is in green, so side C is green. So we have to do that still, just like we've been doing this whole chapter. So don't forget about that detail. All right, so the first situation is the side angle side. All right, you're given two sides, and side A is 8 units, side B is 5, and the measure of angle C is 32.2 degrees. So I drew a picture of it over here. That would be my suggestion. As you can see, we have a side 8, angle C, and side 5. The angle is in between the two sides. Okay, so since they gave us angle C, we're going to use the law of cosines that starts with the c squared. As you can see, there's an a squared one, a b squared one, and a c squared. Since they gave us angle C, we're going to use this bottom one, the c squared equals. And we just substitute. Okay, so you substitute 8 in for the a value, 5 in for the b value, and then 32.2 for angle C value. And you can put that whole thing in your calculator. Okay, that's where they got the 21.3. All right, so watch. I'll just get my calculator out and I'll substitute those numbers in just so you can see. All right, so you just go 8 squared plus 5 squared minus 2 times 8 times 5 cosine. Remember to be in degree mode, has to be in degree mode, 32.2. Close it up, just hit enter. And there's your 21.3 if you round it to the nearest tenth. Okay, what I do then is I hit second squared for the square root, and then second answer, and it'll put that whole thing in for me. Second answer is that negative sign down here. I close it up and hit enter. And there's your 4.6. Okay, so that's side C we just found. Okay, which I have right here in black. Okay, so that's the first step. All right, we found the third side. We have to find the other two angles. Remember, there's 3 answers to these. All right, when we're solving a triangle, we need to know all 6 answers, the 3 sides and the 3 angles. Okay, so now what we do is we use the law of sines. All right, we're not going to use the law of cosines again. We're going to use the law of sines to figure out one of these 2 angles. And then once I know the second angle, I'm just going to add the 2 angles, subtract from 180 to get the third angle. But this is very important. The angle you want to find is the smallest of the remaining 2 angles. Okay, so angle B is here, and its side opposite is 5 units. Angle A is over here, and the side opposite it is 8. Okay? So the smaller of these two angles would be B, because side B is smaller. That's the one you want to find next. That's very important. If you don't do that, things get messed up once in a while. So always, when you go from law of cosines to law of sines, find the smaller of the two angles. Okay, so we're going to find angle B. All right, so they set up the law of sines. Okay, again, I have smaller angle highlighted. So sine of angle B divided by side B equals the sine of angle C divided by side C. All right, and side B was 5, angle C was 32.2, and side C was 4.6. That's what we figured out. So we cross multiply 5 times the sine of 32.2 divided by 4.6. Okay? And that is, let's do that, 5 times the sine, 32.2, close it up, divided by 4.6. Is at 0.57921. Okay? So I'm just going to put that over here so you guys can see it. I'll highlight it. That's the answer to this problem. Okay, so we'll draw an arrow there. Get back to my pen. That answer is right there. Okay, so now this is something different as well. You know, last week we didn't have to do this. We were just finding, it seemed like we always find in sides instead of angles. When we're looking for an angle measure, okay, when like this, the sine of B equals this decimal, to find the angle measure, we have to do the inverse sine. All right? Inverse sine. If you look at your calculators, that's that sine to the -1 power right above sine. So we're going to have to find this answer. All we do is we hit second sine and then second answer. Answer is that negative sign again. And it'll pop in this decimal we just got. Now, when I hit enter, I'll get that 35.4 degrees. All right, so I hit enter. And there's 35.39. If we round it, it's 35.4. So that's angle B. Okay, so then we knew angle C was 32.2. We know angle B now is 35.4. I'm just going to subtract those two from 180. So 180 minus that answer. So I'm just going to hit second answer minus 32.2 to get that remaining angle, which would be 112.4, which is on the next slide. All right, and now we're finished with this problem. There's a 112.4. Okay, so remember, we started out with two sides and an included angle, and we used the law of cosines to find that side C, okay, because we knew angle C. All right, we plugged it all in, took the square root of that answer to get the 4.6, and then we used the law of sines to find angle B because it was the smaller of the two that were left, because side B was the shortest. And then once we found the 35.4, we added it to the 32.2 and subtracted from 180 to get the 112, angle A. All right, so that's the side angle side situation. The other situation is the side situation, where they give you all three sides. Okay, when you do this law of cosine problem, you always find the largest angle first. Very important, all right? Don't forget that. When it's side, side, side situation like this, we're going to find the largest angle. And that's always opposite the longest side. So side B was 9 units. It was the longest, so we're going to find angle B. So we're going to use the B squared one, equals A squared plus C squared, and so on. That law of cosines. Okay, now before we do that, look at this blue equation over here on the right. I have 10 equals 4 plus 3 minus 2x. If we were solving this equation, we'd add the 4 and 3 first to get the 7. And then we'd subtract the 7 over to the other side, because our goal is to get x by itself, remember? So we're subtracting 7. That's where I got the 3. And then I would divide both sides by negative 2 to solve for x. You guys should all understand that. Well, this equation over here is exactly the same. Okay, once we substitute 9, 8, and 7 in for B, A, and C, 9 squared is 81. I always do the 8 squared plus the 7 squared next. That's 64 plus 49. That's where I got the 113. And then the negative 2 times 8 times 7 is negative 112. Remember, that's times the cosine of B. So the 81's like this 10. The 113's like the 7. And the negative or minus 112's like the minus 2 here. Okay, so I can't subtract 112 from 113. That's the mistake a lot of kids will make. Do not do that. This is negative 112 times the cosine of B. So I cannot subtract the negative 112 from the 113. I have to take the 113 over to the other side. Okay, so when I do that, 81 minus 113, let's clear all that out. 81 minus 113, I get negative 32. All right, and then I'm going to divide by this negative 112 to get the cosine of B alone. So this is how I'm getting this 0.2857. All right, so I'm going to divide by negative 112, and there's the 0.2857. Okay, again, that's what the cosine of B equals. So in order to find out what angle B equals, I have to do inverse cosine because I'm using the law of cosines. So that's when I hit second cosine, second answer, close it up, and that's where my 73.4 degrees comes from. Okay, so pay attention to that. This is where kids will make a mistake. All right, 8 squared plus 7 squared is where the 113 came from. Subtract it over. Negative 2 times 8 times 7 is a negative 112. Divide it over. That's how we got the 0.2857. Second cosine, second answer, and that gives us the 73.4 degrees. Okay, so now I have one angle. All right, and if I move this blue box, there's the 73.4. Okay, now I have to use the law of sines to find one of the remaining angles. Which one will I find? Well, I find A. It's got an 8 opposite it, side A. Or will I find C, which has a length of 7 for side C? So which of the two is smaller? Again, side C is shorter, so that means angle C is smaller. So I'm going to use the law of sines to find the measure of angle C. That's on the next slide. Okay. So we just found angle B was 73.4. So the sine of 73.4 over side B, 9, equals the sine of angle C over side C, 7. Cross multiply and divide. Okay. So, all right, I'm going to do that. I'll clear it out. So we're going to go 7 times the sine of 73.4. I need to be able to see my close it up, divided by 9. Okay, so I'm going to put that over here so you can see what I did. And then I'm going to hit second, since it's law of sign, second answer on my calculator. Second sign, second answer. Close it up, enter. So there's the 48.2. All right. So if I add the 73.4, what I know, plus 73.4, there's the two angles that I know. And subtract that from 180. So 180 minus that answer will be that 58.4. So I've got my three angles. Remember, this was side, side, side to start. Okay. Side, side, side. Okay. We had three sides. We find the largest angle, which would be the one opposite the longest side. That's why we started with b squared equals. And we got 73.4. And then we found angle C because it was smaller using the law of sines. And then we added B and C together, subtracted from 180 to get A. Okay. Am I getting, really? Okay, let's see here. Hopefully it didn't. Yep, it just went out on me. All right. So let me get out of that. We're not going to save those changes. Hopefully I can restart this thing. And see what happens. Okay, so hopefully you guys are doing well. Staying safe and healthy. See if I can find those. Okay, there it is, what we just did. Okay, all those answers are right there so you can look at them. Okay, here again is another one, a side angle side one. So they gave us angle A this time. So we're going to start with a squared equals, and this is the one we can just substitute all the numbers in, put it all in our calculator, and then take the square root of our answer. That's how we got the 40.9. So looking at side B and C, side C is shorter. So we're going to find angle C next using the law of sines, which is done for you here. Again, smaller angle C. So angle C is only 3.1 degrees. Okay, so then I'm going to add 173 and 3.1 and subtract from 180 to get the other angle that was left. Okay, 3.9. Okay, so I'm not going to go step by step. You guys can look it over. It has the same things we just did. And then here's another, this last example is another side, side, side. Okay, C is 50.3. That's the biggest or the longest side. So the largest angle would be angle C. So we're going to use the C squared equals. And then we're going to solve it. I wrote out all the steps for you. The 50.3 squared is this number. 35 squared plus 42 squared is the 2989. The 2 times 35 times 42 is the negative 2940. Subtract the 2989 from both sides. Get the negative 458.91. Divide both sides by negative 2940. And you get the cosine of C is 0.1560. So remember, you go second cosine, second answer. And that'll give you 81 degrees for angle C. Okay, so once we have that 81, we're going to use the law of sines to find the remaining smaller angle of the two. And looking at the three sides, side A is the shortest, so the smallest would be angle A. So I'm going to use the law of sines with the 50.3 and the 81, and sine of A and 35 on the next slide. All right, sine of 81, figured that out. 81 degrees over C equals sine of A over side A. Cross multiply and divide. Again, we're looking for the angle, so we have to hit second sine this time. We're using law of sines. And that was our answer. And we get 43.4 degrees. Add 81 to that and subtract from 180 to get angle B, which would be the last angle, the 55.6. All right, so that's the law of cosines. Hopefully that makes sense for you guys. I think it is review from geometry as well. You guys have been doing a great job. There will be a couple word problems. Again, just reminding you here, the largest angle is opposite the longest side when we do that side, side, side situation. There will be some, a couple word problems, all right? And again, just draw a picture of your triangle. So it says a hiker travels at an average speed of 2.5 miles per hour. How long will it take him to travel from the cave to the waterfall? Round to the nearest tenth of an hour. Okay, so they gave you the picture, all right? You may have to draw a picture. If not, if they have the picture for you, which I think they do in your book, you just see this side angle side situation, all right? How long will it take for the cave to the waterfall? All right, so we're going to find that length. All right, so this length squared equals, 3 squared plus 4 squared minus 2 times 3 times 4. They have all the work here, I believe. All right, so just get your picture and then you'll know which law of cosines to use. All right. So just use the law of cosines to find that distance. There it is. There's the work. The distance from the cave to the waterfall is 4.2 miles. So if you travel 2.5 miles per hour, you just divide 4.2 by 2.5 to get the 1.7. Okay, so that's just a quick word problem. Here's another picture, another side angle side. Okay, so we're going to find that length. So that length squared equals those two squared added minus 2 times those, cosine of 28. So the same type of deal there. Shouldn't be too tough for you. So I won't go through all of it. You guys can look. I guess I'm going kind of fast. I will post that this as well. Don't worry about that practice quiz here. But here's your assignment for due tomorrow, Tuesday. Page 970, numbers 1 to 8 all. Again, law of cosines, but you will also be using the law of sines. So hopefully this makes sense to you. Again, office hours are Mondays and Wednesdays from noon to 12:30 for you guys, and Tuesdays and Thursdays from 8 to 8:30 in the morning. So if you need any help, pop in those conferences to see me and ask questions. Again, you can email me too if you have questions, and I'll help you out the best I can. So keep up the good work. Have a good day, and I'll post something again on Wednesday. Remember to look good, feel good. You are good.